Welcome to another episode of Educating Homebuyers, the podcast. I'm your host, Brady, and my mortgage team has over 9 years of mortgage experience here in Des Moines, Iowa. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, investing, or simply just curious about the market, this show is all about helping you and future homebuyers feel informed, educated, and comfortable as you take your next step. Each week, I sit down with real estate professionals, past clients, and local experts to unpack real stories, real advice, and what you actually need to know when buying a home today. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Today, I'm joined by a seasoned real estate investor, agent, team leader, and owner of RE/MAX Concepts. With years of experience buying and selling homes himself, helping buyers navigate the market, and leading a team of agents, and frankly, shaping the way real estate is done in our area, he brings a unique perspective to the table. Whether you're buying your first home or planning your next move, this conversation's packed with insights that will help you feel more confident and feel prepared in today's market. Matt Mauro, welcome to Educating Homebuyers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, buddy.
Quite the intro.
Well, I mean, I didn't write it, but
yeah.
Here's the thing I will say is you've earned everything that I said.
Thank you.
And I'd love to give you an opportunity to share that, but you wear a lot of hats, I would say.
Yeah.
But
I thrive in chaos.
You've become a very experienced individual by default, and you've got a lot of value to share. So I'm excited to hear your journey, hear kind of everything you've got to share about today's market and just some tips for educating homebuyers. So
I'll do my best.
Let's start off with that. Kind of give everybody a picture of your journey in real estate and kind of how that all began.
Gosh, looking back, I graduated from Dowling High School, and I wanted to invest in real estate. That's really the only plan I had. Okay. And I knew that my best bet was to maybe go elsewhere and do it. But I thought I would get licensed here in Des Moines and just kind of figure out the ins and outs of it.
Got it.
And of course, you go into life with a plan, and then things just kind of shape, and you just kind of roll with how it takes you. But I was licensed on October 5th, 1995. It's 30 years ago. Holy shit.
I still have more gray hair than you do.
I just had my 30th anniversary. My high school anniversary. Yeah, I just had my high school 30th.
A lot of good things have happened in 30 years, though, right?
A lot of good things, yeah. So I was able to, it was rough at first, being 18 and anybody. And I see a good youth movement in this industry. But when I was coming up, I was the youngest guy the youngest person by 15 years. Sure. It wasn't like someone was 22.
Yeah.
It was next person that was like 33, 34 years old that was getting licensed.
What do you think that was?
Yeah.
Why do you think it was?
I think even still, but maybe not quite as much because there's that youth movement coming in.
Okay.
It's more of a second profession. Like people come out of maybe they raise their kids and
sure.
Or I've seen a lot of teachers get out of teaching and do it really well. But now I think people are looking at it like I did from a career standpoint, and the younger you get into it, the better off you might be. So,
got it.
I worked a couple of jobs when I was coming up because I had to. And then by the time I think I was 21, I was full-time
able to make it work.
And by the time I was 22, 23, I was buying homes.
Yeah.
So I just kept the plan. And
so when you started, though, was your first step to be a licensed agent, or did you just start with buying first?
No, I started with being a licensed agent.
Yeah.
I answered back then. It was a newspaper. I went to work for First Realty, Better Homes and Gardens, and Mike Smith was my instructor. He was awesome.
So 1995, what's it look like to buy a house in 1995?
I can tell you, FHA didn't loan more than $96,000. Okay. What are they at today?
Plus or minus 400, a little bit higher than that at this point. Yeah. As far as max loan amount.
Average Beaverdale brick, story and a half was about 92, 93,000.
Yeah.
Average sale of a home was probably 68.
Yep.
Was there
more cash at that point, or was it still mortgage?
Shit, what do I know? I was 18. I didn't know shit from Shiloh. Yeah. I was in there. I had some really great mentors. I followed around. I kept my mouth shut. Yeah. I asked questions at the right time when we were in the car, not in front of anybody.
Yeah.
I just followed by example and failed my way forward. Okay. I don't even know how to express it. I really had no...
You didn't give yourself a choice.
Yeah, and I didn't really care about listing homes or helping people buy homes.
Got it.
That wasn't my focus. My focus was just learning about houses and how can I find them, where can I find them.
So it was the house itself more than the client.
Yeah, more than the client. And even though I was trying to make money so I could get there to buy homes through the helping buyers and sellers, my primary focus was how do I flip homes? How do I get to where I can do 10 or 15 at a time and position myself that way? So that was my whole focus. And I never really got there. Like I was doing 2 or 3 at a time at one point. But I started buying them when I was 22, 23 and kept that going. It was a lot of fun. I still love it today. In fact, I just sold a flip home yesterday that we did. And I think even after 30 years, I love helping agents and being a broker, and I love helping buyers and sellers. But if I had to say there's one thing about real estate I truly love is flipping homes.
Flipping a house.
Yeah, even all the way back then to being an 18-year-old kid to even today, it's probably my first and still my greatest
Let's dive
love.
into that then if you're open to it. What does that process look like? How do you identify a property that's like a perfect fit for a flip project of yours?
Yeah. Well, you have to be able to walk into a home and make decisions. You have to know what you're looking at, which takes some time and experience. As an agent, you'll learn that though, as you go through. So you got to know what you're looking at. You got to know what it takes to turn it around. And of course, being an agent, like we do with so many buyers and sellers, we tell them what the home would be worth if we did these things.
Sure.
And you hope you're right within a certain percentage.
Without discovering any other potential issues with a home?
I still have the sewer lines cameraed, and I still have someone go look up in the attic.
Okay.
Because there's two things that eyes on, you really can't readily see.
Probably been burned on those couple things early on in your time and learned the hard way to never make that mistake again, I suppose.
I'd love to say that, but I selling a home, flipping a home right now, I made that mistake on a sewer line. It cost me $23,000 because it was like a 300-some foot run.
So there's a tip right there.
Yeah, you have the sewer line scoped if you're because that can be one that can blow your budget up.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning lessons. But,
Always.
But yeah, I've done really well with it, and it's kind of crazy because learning about houses and being able to share that information and having
with the people you're representing.
Yes, that's actually
how much of a value is that?
That's what really blew me up as a real estate agent.
Yeah,
is having those resources and having that knowledge.
And you learned firsthand. You were in the field. You were out there, under the cabinets, looking at all this stuff.
So when I was 23, 24, and I started sharing, youth was still an issue because I still looked really young.
Sure,
and
you still do.
Well, thanks. Not as young as then I looked really young. I looked like 16, and then I could overcome that youth with my knowledge of homes, if that made sense.
Yep.
They stopped asking me how old I was, and they started asking me, damn, how long have you been doing this?
Yeah.
Because my look didn't match my knowledge.
No doubt.
And so
I would think that's a good point that I've noticed personally from my perspective is that there's a lot of really, really incredibly knowledgeable real estate agents that are really young. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that age or even experience anymore makes you a better agent than the person you're competing against.
Different life experiences too.
Yeah, for sure. But I would say that there's a lot of people that I interact with on a day-to-day basis that I think would do an incredible job representing a client, even if they it could be their first client they've ever worked with. Just because they did the homework and the due diligence and educated themselves on
and the great training.
And training, which is a huge part of your broker. Yeah, they've got to be one of your agents, frankly.
I'm probably training them personally.
Yeah, correct. But no, I do think that that's an interesting thing I've noticed, and it kind of goes back to that youth movement you talked about, where I think that there's a younger generation that is really, really interested in making this a career, and they're taking the time to get educated on how to do it well.
No, they're passionate about it. They do it really well.
When I think social media plays a big role in that.
They're serious about it. I agree. I think you're seeing, and I love the youth movement. I love it.
Yeah, in the best way, and they're.
How do you see with mortgages? You see, I heard that it's kind of getting the opposite, where you kind of getting older, they're renting longer. Is that seeing what you're seeing too?
You're talking as far as client base goes?
Yeah, just that first time buyer.
There's no doubt about it. The average age of a first time home buyer is definitely higher than what it was if you would have asked me that same question 4 years ago.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Is that trend going to continue, you think? Or
I think a lot of it comes down to affordability. I don't think that it's the fact that young people don't want to own real estate. It's just that they struggle to be willing to afford it right now.
This is something that's worth noting, and maybe it's just not because I paid attention to every single market in the last 30 years, but this is the one where there are places you can probably rent that if you bought it, it'd be more expensive.
Yeah.
Generally, that's not the case.
Right.
Generally, the landlords may, but with interest rates going up, taxes going up, and if you don't, insurance, if you don't own houses, it's very difficult, especially non-owner occupieds can get, your landlord policies are real expensive.
Yeah.
So right now, renting versus owning.
In a lot of places, could be cheaper.
In a lot of places.
Mm-hmm. Now, you may not get the benefits of home ownership. I always tell people that one of my favorite parts of owning a home is being able to make it your own. And so you have the ability to customize it. You have to be able to ability to do projects, things like that. Those are kind of some of the sacrifices you make. But on the flip side, you avoid the risk being a renter. You know? You don't have the risk of if a storm comes through and wrecks your roof and, that comes up.
If you're going to stay in Des Moines going to be the place, then I would own.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Everything that I've ever been able to do from an economic or financial standpoint has been through owning real estate.
Is there a time length that you say you encourage people to be willing to commit to? If you're going to talk to a first-time home buyer, what's the average time frame you would recommend? Hey, no, you should try to own for this property for at least this long if you're going to make this decision.
I would say minimum 5 years right now, since we're in a normal market. You'll make you'll make some money on the other end. For a while there, Brady, you saw it. Shit, people were living in a home a year, and paying their realtor, and still coming out with money for a minute there. But that's not normal.
I think that's a big point that I'd love to talk about real quick too. Is some of these programs that we have available from the mortgage standpoint. It allows people to be able to buy a house with little to no money out of pocket,
right?
Which is a fantastic bridge to allow people to have access to home ownership. However, I think the point about equity is an incredibly important point, and that if you are making this decision to utilize a mortgage that is little to no money down, you have to understand that you also then in turn have little to no equity. And if that is a decision that then in turn you want to sell that property in 16 months, you're going to have minimal equity. The odds of your property having appreciated enough and you paying your loan balance down enough in order to pay the cost of selling and still make a profit on it are pretty low.
Yeah.
And I think that's a conversation that not enough lenders are having with people. They get too fixated on the product and the opportunity to buy a house with no money out of pocket, which is great. Like I said, I'll never downplay that program. I use them all the time. I have a client that closes tomorrow using the same program.
So I'm always a little worried hesitant about those programs. I mean, I love them for our clients.
It's fantastic to allow people, but
I want someone who's seen it happen on 08 and 09 where there wasn't a lot of skin in the game for buyers.
Yeah, and we hope that that's a one-off, right? That time period. However, I think it's a very important piece to drive home is understanding that if you're going to buy a home with no money out of pocket, you have to be willing to commit to that property and the monthly payment for a long time in order to justify and create that equity.
If you buy a property and you're able to maintain it, the only property I've ever really regretted selling is all of them.
Yeah.
Now I needed to flip homes when I was young to keep going. Mm-hmm. But I sometimes fantasize about wonder if I was able to keep it.
Imagine if I still had this one,
at my age now, 30 years later or 25 years later, what, So they do, if you do have the stomach for it, especially if you're young, I would buy because although we never know how much time we have on this earth, assuming you live a full life, you won't lose.
Yep.
You won't lose. And that means 8 years, it'll go up for you, and it might come down a little bit for a few years.
That's another good point. Up. It's been a long time since we've seen values go down.
Yeah, it's been a long, long time. So they've leveled off a little bit, but
for sure
receded. We haven't seen that since.
But talk about that. So you've been in this game for 30 years. How many times have you seen a declining market from a value standpoint?
I can only say certainly between 08 and 2000, the last half or first half of 2012. Mm-hmm. The last half of 2012, we started to come out of that.
So at that time,
by 2013,
most of us listening probably know the 08-09 situation.
Yes.
Talk about 2012. What caused values to drop in that year?
Well, it was all an echo of the same thing.
Okay.
2008 that was all the same market. We just came out of it.
Got it. So it took time to feel the effects.
It did. Back then, Barack Obama was our president, and he enacted a policy that allowed people to get down payment assistance, on their tax returns, and people just started taking advantage of that. Mm-hmm. But during that period, if agents were around, you'll remember the majority of homes were in a short sale situation and or bank owned.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult. But as we came out of that, the market cycled out. But in my 30 years, that's the only time I've ever seen it go down.
Yeah.
And my last estimate, please don't take this as gospel, but I think Des Moines lost somewhere around 12% during those 4 periods. To put that
compare that national average.
And put that national average, we did really well.
Correct.
Locally, downtown being probably the worst market hit, and then
sure
some of those entry level townhomes you saw.
Mm-hmm.
But if to put that in perspective, I think in 20 to 21, if you owned a home, you got 12%. Just in that 1 year.
Probably even in 6 months, frankly.
Yeah, right.
I mean, honestly, it was crazy.
So if you have time, God willing,
yeah,
real estate's a great bet.
No doubt.
Real estate's a great bet.
Yep.
Sure, look at my TikTok, you'll see a tree falls on them every now and then. Shit happens.
Yep.
But
there's always that risk for sure.
But the long haul, and then if you can own a nice little book of them for 20 years or so, you pay them off, and then leverage you have with that equity, really becomes.
So with your portfolio right now of ownership, are you still in that flip is your preference, or what's your thoughts on the long-term rentals or even short-term rentals? What's your opinion on that? Is that like what's
for me? I have an interest in a particular area that I would hold. For me, kind of a passion project, if you will.
Sure.
But otherwise, I'm only looking for wholesale
Flipping around.
or flipping. And I like remodeling them. I like getting the vision for something. I like seeing it come to.
You see the potential.
Yeah. It's kind of a creative outlet. You see it, and then once you see it, making it come to life, it's kind of a painting or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
An outlet for that. But
fantastic.
But wholesaling's obviously easier. If someone comes in and you can make a little money, someone coming in buying it and doing the work.
Love it.
So we're trying to do all of it. Trying to do a little bit all of it. But
get a piece of everything. I love it. Okay, so talked about the investing side, talked about your history. Would love to have you talk about, because you're a broker and owner of a brokerage here in Des Moines as well, very successful one, might I add. Love to have you just talk about, like, what are some things that your agents are doing to help your home buyers win in today's market, or maybe top down, what are some things you guys are training your agents on to help them win in a market like what we're facing right now?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to building your business as an agent, we're teaching a very we call a pillared approach.
Okay.
Where you open up, and you probably do this yourself. I see you doing it yourself, whether you know or you do it yourself. You're developing different lines of revenue of how people come to you.
Yeah.
And this podcast is one for your brand and exposure. And you obviously, I know you touch with newsletters, and you touch with your spheres with gifts and same things we do in real estate. Whether it be open houses or the bottom line is we're always looking to build and maintain relationships.
Yep.
Those are what in turn
you drive that home.
Yeah, they drive that home. That's where people have trust, they have confidence in you, and they turn to you with all their real estate needs.
Yeah.
Now, even in a market that's competitive, and we haven't had a really hot season this year. Real estate selling, there's just not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. It's up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
So you got to be patient. But I think the big thing for now is the education of telling sellers and buyers where we're at in the market.
Okay.
Sellers, we're not getting 6 offers on your home anymore. That time's over.
Some of them are.
Yeah, that's true.
But
not like
I do agree with you. It's definitely slowed down.
And it definitely depends on the situation of where that home was priced to be.
Yeah,
if you're
of course.
getting 6 offers, it's probably because they priced really, really aggressively. But generally, the homes are sitting just a little bit longer,
which is healthy.
And sellers are having to negotiate. So if you take out the last, let's just say 9 years of real estate, where we were competing really heavy.
Yep.
The rest of my 21 years or whatever, and maybe you take out the 08 years.
Yep.
The rest of the years, sellers are usually looking to negotiate around 3% from purchase price to sales price. That would be an average. I would say that seems to work for both parties. The sellers feel like they got a good price for the home. The buyers feel like they got a fair shake in the negotiation.
Which is really what we want, right? We want both sides to win.
Absolutely. We want both sides walking away from the table feeling like they were represented well, that everything was done efficiently, and that they were treated fairly.
Yeah.
But right now I'm seeing buyers kind of come in
a
little bit more aggressively.
Okay.
And they're winning.
Okay.
They're winning now.
So what are you seeing some things?
And they're doing this with builders too.
Okay.
Builders that have inventory up, they don't want it up.
Yeah.
Brand new stuff that's still
being built. They love it off their books.
Yeah. They're going to have troubles with that. They might, but the ones that are up,
so if you're representing a buyer in today's market, and you're maybe you're looking at a new build or an existing resale, you can use either example. What are some things that you're seeing people ask for from a negotiation standpoint? I think the obvious is probably price, closing costs. Touch on some other creative things you guys have helped navigate that could be a benefit add to somebody listening.
Well, I mean, you're seeing now even furniture and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I think repairs to the homes, you're seeing more of those. For a long time, it seemed like there for 3 or 4 years, you're buying homes, some of them sight unseen,
as is
inspections. Now they're coming back and like, okay, we're dealing with structural, mechanical, and safety issues with homes.
Yep. Which is another thing that I always reflect on. It's like, why would you not want that, right?
Yes.
If you're representing a buyer, you want them to have a property in good condition.
And when it comes to negotiation, which I love that process for the buyer, I always start with, they always say, well, where should we start? Like, no, where do you want to end up?
Yeah.
That'll tell me where we're going to start.
Then work backwards.
Well, and then we go over and we placate what the responses are most likely going to be.
Sure.
And what our moves are going to be in response to those.
Sure.
To get to where they want to be. And hopefully their number where they want to be, I feel, is realistic. If it's not, I'm just honest. Like, hey, we can try for that, but I feel like
this is probably where.
Yeah, and that, you know how it goes. Like,
totally.
How many days has it been on the market? What are the comps? You know.
Yeah. What else is out there for somebody else that's trying to look for this one? Yeah.
If it's been on the market 1 or 2 days, like, chill. We're not going to get. But if you've been on the market 30 to 40 days, they've had a plethora of showings.
Yeah.
They're looking. Look, hey, if they really want to move.
Yeah.
Let's get something reasonable on the table.
No doubt.
And I love the negotiation process. That's what I geek out about now, probably more than anything when it comes to helping buyers and sellers.
Sure. And I would still say, from my perspective, I think a lot of the sellers, as far as resale goes, a lot of the people that are selling are still in that selling because they have to kind of a phase. Yeah. Because they're relocating, or maybe they, have a growing family, or, like
divorce,
I said,
death.
Yeah. The one of my colleagues always uses the 5 Ds, right? Yeah. Death, divorce, diapers. Yeah. You can keep going. But there's a lot of life instances that are causing people to relocate right now. It's not, I would say the leisure move is less common, right? It's not like everybody's just making the decision to want to have a nicer house, you know, and that's still happening. I don't want to make it seem like it's not. And we even talked before this that, you're really seeing that a lot in the luxury market. Like, everybody that's buying in the luxury market is serious, right? And they're doing it because they want to, and they've got the means to do it. Yeah. But there's a lot of other in those lower price points, between, and I'd love to get your opinion on what price points you think that is in our market, but that, like I said, they are forced in a sense to be doing it because they either have a family change, or frankly, what I'm seeing a lot is financially, and that's another point that I'd love to drive home, is that I don't think that the slowdown in our real estate market is all real estate related. Life is expensive right now. There's no way to deny that. It costs a lot of money to go to the grocery store.
It does.
Anybody ever tried to go to Disney lately? It's not very cheap. Yeah. So that's my point is like, just because, yes, interest rates are higher, that's not the only driving factor. That's what slowed real estate movement.
Well, insurance, taxes, everything's up.
Exactly.
Everything's
and
up,
so
gas, everything.
It's easy to point fingers at interest rates, but there's a lot of other factors. And frankly, we've seen an increase in national debt. You look at the average credit card debt in America right now, it's at a literal all-time high. And when people have this, accrued debt that they maybe weren't prepared for, or didn't expect, or couldn't do anything about because they have no choice, they've got to support their family. One avenue that people have to escape that right now is their home's equity. And so it's either coming via a refinance, cash out, or selling and relocating.
Right.
So I'm seeing that a lot on my end is people that, maybe got into a position they aren't proud to admit, but we're here to help navigate it. And frankly, I've seen a lot of my clients win amidst it.
I think it's
because equity's great.
I'm probably not in the trenches as much as I used to be. Like, my team does that most of it, but if I could wave a magic wand and get one party back into this market, it'd be the first-time buyer. Yeah, that moves everything up. You know, and like you said, the luxury market, they don't care. Right, they're going to do what they want to do. They've got the means to do it. And then you see the move, the right-size buyer. Yeah, the families has the 2-story. They're in their mid-60s, and they're ready to kind of right-size their life. Yep, because they have the equity in their home. Sure, and if that's a strong endorsement, if you're in your 20s or early 30s, to go buy a house. Yeah, look what these people are doing with their homes and able to move. And for sure, yeah, it's a testimony that what they're able to accomplish with their equity now. Yeah, what they're able to accomplish with their equity. It's a true testament. You see those people moving with little difficulty, and maybe trying to help them navigate some of their belongings that they've accumulated all over that time. No doubt. And trying to help them with that. Yep. That seems to be the big hurdle there. No doubt. But if you can help them navigate that and project a clear course. Yeah. Route for them to get where they want to be. Long term, it's going to. Yep, they need help, and those markets are moving. Yeah, the first-time home buyer market seems to be really hit or miss. So talk about that. What's a way we can encourage somebody that's listening to this who's never bought a house before? What's one thing you would say to somebody who's considering being a first-time home buyer in today's market? I think you could probably get out there and get a better deal than you think. Okay. Depending on what creative offers, just trying to get to either whether you're working with you and trying to get buy downs, where we're trying to get creative financing where we're not out of money pocket. But I'm even talking straight from a negotiation standpoint, finding a nice home that in 5 to 7 years you're going to do really well off, to get all the tax benefits from, and use this as a stepping stone to get into the next home. 5 to 7 years. Well, I think an important point too, and we don't know when it's going to come,
But at some point, real estate's going to be competitive again. It could be in 3 months if they choose to drop rates. It could be in 3 years if they choose to keep rates high. But my point is that at some point, it's going to be competitive to buy real estate right now. And it's less competitive right now. So now would be a fantastic time to get into that as long as you're comfortable with the monthly payment.
Yeah, it's as good to be a buyer as I've seen since 2012.
Yeah.
First half of 2012.
Which is 13 years at time of recording.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. It is. So I would say that you've been in the seller's market that entire time.
Yep.
Up until now, it is either level or slightly tilted to the buyers. I don't know what the numbers would probably say. Today there was 4,115 homes active on the market.
Yeah.
Now that includes DMAR. That's DMAR's numbers. That's townhome, that's land, that's single family, that's new construction, that's everything. But 4 years ago we were down to about 1,400. So 1,300. So here we are.
And for multiple years, the only thing we ever talked about is that inventory's low. Like it was, I mean, that was a message.
I think in 2007, we were up to like 7,000 homes.
Okay.
That gives you an idea.
Which is
before 2008 hit.
I was going to say, for context, the reason why 2008 hit was a big reason because of inventory being as heavy as it was or as open as it was.
Right.
So we're still we're talking Des Moines, Iowa Metro. We're still 3,000 listings less than what you were in 2007.
Right.
So we're still more protected than what we were at that point.
Yeah, you won't see. Yeah, it was a different market, different time.
At that time, in 07, when you saw an inventory that high, what percentage of that 7,000 was new build? Because I know new construction play a big impact in that.
You didn't have as many builders in the market as you do now. You had two Regency and two big powerhouses, which were over leveraged. So when they went down, it was like, oh no,
big boom.
Which they took a lot of plumbers, a lot of electricians, a lot of framers. You know, those wasn't just them.
Yep,
a lot of blue collar people that depended on those jobs, but it did make way, for what we have now. Yeah, which are great builders out there. The Sages, the KRMs, the Kimberleys, just doing it right. You know, and Jerry's and Kimberly, they've been around since
back then.
Yeah, Jerry's. They survived everything. You know, Kimberly has survived everything, and that's a testament to their leadership. And,
without a doubt.
You know, so, but
I love it.
But yeah, it's a different market now. But Des Moines is a great place to live, and I think the word's out, and people are moving here.
They get it.
They're doing a bunch of rentals. I think people want to rent and test the waters out. Is this going to be a permanent place for them?
Yep.
And hopefully,
which is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. If I was moving somewhere else, I would do the same thing. I don't want to go in somewhere and just buy something.
No doubt.
And
unless you had experience being there before or something, you know. But yeah, if you're fresh and brand new to the Des Moines market, we would always encourage you to rent and check it out.
See, but if you're gonna, it's a great place to grow roots. Great place for family. Yep. There's a lot of stuff to do here.
No doubt.
And man, there's a lot of great neighborhoods that offer affordability if you are going to get into to buying. For sure. And I always tell people is that even if you're considering that transition, and even if you want to rent for 12 months or 24 months or whatever it is, still don't be afraid to have the conversation with us. So if you're watching this and this is like moving you to feel inclined to do this, I'll tag Matt's information below, tag myself, DM us, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, however you want to get a hold of us. We just want to be resources, right? And we tell people that all the time. Is just an opportunity to have that conversation, even if you're not trying to get pre-approved tomorrow, right? Like we want to make sure that you're comfortable with the process. I think people would be even surprised to know about a lot of the neighborhoods that will give you money to help fix up the home you buy. Like Invest Des Moines in 5 different areas, and again, this might not be gospel because I use them as a non-owner occupant, so it's different than if you own the home. But I believe they'll give you like 50% of the repairs of your house, like roofs, windows. So if you're if you're inclined to be a handy person and you want to own a house, like what a great way to get equity in areas that are
no doubt
that are being revitalized. And you go in there, you buy a house, and you use your skill and your labor and use the money to make up the difference and create equity and wealth for yourself.
What a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Like you live there for 5 years, the money just goes away. And there's 5 areas in Des Moines that offer this that are good areas. So if you're interested in home ownership and you really want that, there's a way, whether it be grant money or Invest Des Moines or a combination of all of it. You know?
Lots of different creative ways to make it a reality.
For sure.
But we'd love to be a resource. Like I said, Matt, this has been fantastic. Thank you again for coming in and being a value add. And,
thanks for having me.
And it goes beyond just coming to the podcast. I know the impact you're making in this community. I know the agents that you're mentoring.
Yeah.
You guys do. I've always said from the very beginning, you guys do things right over there. So thank you again for creating a culture that is doing things the right way, because that's what it's all about. Thank you guys for educating home buyers. More importantly, thanks for tuning in to another episode. If you guys have any questions, we'll be sure to link Matt's information in the description below. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.